Yeah! Here we go!
It's time for TSS Fantasy.
It is Commissioner Cooper.
Hold on. That's a big balls move. Do you want your title?
Happy Sunday, happy early morning trash football game.
Yes! We're back, baby! Let's go!
Feud with Aaron Rodgers. I almost got banned off TikTok for the things I did.
Repaired MCL sprain on his knee. He has had some nagging hamstring issues over the years.
D. Lots of fun words start with D. Like bye weeks.
You know what other word starts with D, Chris Fox? Disappear. All right, welcome in. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It is Commissioner Cooper, and it's time for TSS Fantasy.
Yeah!
Indeed, it's
Disappear
Friday.
in detention. Like, god damn, where is this guy? Is he in Guantanamo Bay or something like that? Held up with like concert series?
He's like, oh, I gotta work tonight. I'm like, oh my god, bro. Like, why'd you even agree to, like, come on, like, whatever. Anyway, let's get it on tonight. We got a big week to go over. I mean, some of people right now looking at 0-2 right in the face. Some are 2-0, some are 1-1. Either way, you need a victory this week, and we got you covered here tonight. Do us a solid if you're watching on YouTube. Hit subscribe, give us a like, throw your fantasy questions in there. Little things stopping you from doing it, big things popping for us when you do. We appreciate that. Also, if you're looking to do some daily fantasy over the weekend, use the Fast Draft. I can't even never say that right. Fast Draft app. Use our promo code TSS. We'll double that deposit up to $50. So you got $100 to throw down this weekend. And who knows what you might do with that. So make sure you do that. And if you're looking for championship bling for your fantasy champion, look no further than Pro-Am Belts. All right, well, let's get the intro started. Welcome into the studio, Justin Jesus Herrera. Welcome in, my friend.
Oh, yeah, as usual. Great to be here. You know, you always need to win. Everybody needs a W once in a while, too. I mean, I got 2-0 teams, and I'm like, I still need that W because unless I get that W, I got no reassurance that I'm going to win the championship. If I'm like 0-2, I'm like, I get that one W, I'm like, yeah, back in business, baby. I'm back in the title game. So let's get, I just can't wait. I can't wait. This is going to be a great week of games, too. I love the Chicago-Dallas game, Minnesota, the Bengals, and the backup quarterback ball. Ooh, it's going to be interesting. I like it. I can't.
Yeah, we got a lot to get into. Can't wait to break it on down for you guys tonight. But, you know, we can't start out without hearing about injuries. That is what's important, of course. So our guy is in the back, the big man. The doc is in. Brian Scott from the Injured List Podcast. Let's hear what's going on today.
It's time to get your latest NFL injury updates with Brian from the Injured List Podcast. The doctor is in.
The doctor is in. Welcome in, my friend. We appreciate you joining us here on a live Friday night. We got a lot of injuries to talk about, of course. You know, I just want to give a shout out, though, to your Giants, who last week was really put up a fight. I'm sure that was a bit of excitement for you.
A little bit of a gut punch, not going to lie, a little bit of a gut punch, but definitely I see some promising things happening. The coaching staff is now been brought to the forefront as they have been identified as the problem. So if they don't start winning, they will be gone, which I'm happy about. So hopefully they win, but if they don't, let's hope that coaching staff gets pushed aside and things take a turnaround this before the season's too late, because it's not too late. So, yeah. Anyway.
Don't give up. Never give up.
Yeah. Let's get to it. A lot of stuff going on. We're only in week 3. We've already lost some big names for the season, and I'm putting Joe Burrow on the top of that list. Grade 3 turf toe injury, had surgery this morning. They're saying 3 months out. It's going to be longer than that, I can almost guarantee you, which basically brings us to the end of the year. I don't see this happening for him, unfortunately. Yet another year goes by where he's going to miss substantial time. He's dealt with numerous injuries throughout his career. ACL injury 1 year, which cost him a lot of time. Wrist surgery at the end of last year, the year before. I can't even keep track. He's had a lot of stuff. I saw the injury happen. It was very obvious from the way that the injury occurred that it was a classic mechanism for a turf toe, and a true turf toe injury at that. Otherwise, they would never have done surgery. As in the case of Brock Purdy, who's also on this list, he's dealing with a turf toe variant, which tells me that it's not an actual turf toe, but something similar, more like a sprain, nothing that required surgery. He's also got a shoulder issue, which seems to be less of the concern. It doesn't sound like he's practicing. I think they've already named the backup, their starter this weekend, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Was it Mariota?
Mac Jones.
Mac Jones.
Sorry, Mac Jones. So that's already been determined. I think we will see Brock Purdy back the following week. If he can get on the practice field and get some full sessions in next week, then I think we will see him back. J.J. McCarthy with the mysterious high ankle injury that nobody can kind of pinpoint when it occurred, but he's going to take the bench this weekend. They signed Desmond Ridder to add some depth, and he's been officially, I believe, listed as out already. They're saying 2 to 4 weeks. If this is a real injury and not an excuse to pull him from the lineup, I'm going to stay closer to that 4-week mark, depending on the severity, but high ankle sprains do take longer to get better. Typically, they're usually moderate in severity, so I'm thinking at least 3 weeks, possibly closer to the 4-week mark. Justin Fields already officially ruled out with a concussion. He hasn't done anything yet in practice, as far as I know. It's going to be too late, basically, for him to clear concussion protocol at this point. So we'll see how he does next weekend, if he can get back on the field and start ramping up some physical activity. And then Jaden Daniels is dealing with some type of knee sprain. They haven't been very specific about what that injury is. There was some optimism that he might be able to go this week, but I think they've also named him out for this weekend officially as well. So we're not going to see him. And then heading over to the running back, Aaron Jones, once again, hits IR with a hamstring issue. Factor in that I think they have a bye week 7 or something like that. So the official return, I think, will not be any earlier than week 8 because he has to miss a minimum of 4 games, not weeks. So that basically pushes that out to like 5 or 6 weeks now because of the bye. Austin Eckler going down with a season-ending, possibly career-ending Achilles tendon injury. Unfortunate to see that happen to him. He's a good guy. Getting up there in age when you're talking about the running back position, 9 months usually is the typical time frame for recovery from this to get back to football activities. Could be a little sooner, but at his age with this injury, they start stacking up. He's going to lose some power. It's going to affect his ability to cut, drive, and push off. Something to think about going forward for him, unfortunately. And then Zach Charbonnet had some weird foot injury. I didn't get much information on it. I know he was limited or not practicing earlier in the week. I don't know what the update is on him. He's possibly heading into a questionable tag, so keep an eye on that. Wide receivers, Xavier Worthy is trying to bounce back from that shoulder dislocation. Week 1, it sounds like he's probably going to be ready next week, not this week. I think he might be carrying a questionable tag. I don't think he's going to quite ready yet. I know he did some stuff in practice this week, but he's still probably pretty sore. I think he's been practicing with a brace on, which he might actually play with as well when he comes back, which could limit his ability to grab throws up top. So that could factor into the decision of whether he's ready or not. Jawan Jennings initially was dealing with a shoulder issue last week, then was dealing with some ankle thing that popped up this week. They're saying he's going to be questionable heading into the weekend. Keep in mind, he recently signed a new contract that is laden incentivized with playing time. So we're probably going to see him. How effective he'll be, I don't know. But he's probably going to try to play to cash in on that new contract he has. Josh Down was dealing with an ankle issue earlier in the week. He actually practiced in full yesterday. Today he's been taken off the injured list. He's a full go. Emeka Egbuka was dealing with some type of groin issue. He's probably going to be a questionable game time decision. He got in, I think, a limited practice today, but didn't do much earlier in the week. Not looking good for him. Lad McConkey, I believe Lad is back at practice, and I don't think there's any issues. He had a brace on. They were saying it was like some type of bicep injury. Not exactly sure, but it sounds like it's nothing serious. Heading to the tight end position, we got Tyler Warren. Haven't gotten many updates on him, but he was dealing with some toe issue the other day. Missed some time earlier in the week. May have gotten some limited practice in. He might be a questionable tag. Dallas Goedert was ruled out for week 2. Was limited in practice earlier this week. It sounds like, though, he might be trending toward playing, which is good news for CeeDee Lamb and some of the other guys in that team. Evan Ingram, once again, has been officially ruled out. He's always injured, so he will not be playing. He's got some back issue now, but earlier in the week or last week it was a calf issue. Tucker Kraft dealing with a knee injury. He was supposed to get imaging done, and there was some concern that it was possibly a minor injury, maybe more moderate, that it might keep him out for a couple weeks. They didn't think it was going to be long-term. I haven't gotten any new reports. I haven't seen much new about the specifics for him. I don't think he did anything today, so he might be down this weekend. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong on that one. And those are the guys I got. So unless you guys got some other questions, that's the list.
I don't have a question, but I did want to give you a shout out. It was funny because I saw Jaden Reed. I know you had mentioned it on the show. You're like, well, he might as well take care of the toe since take care of the shoulder, and that's exactly what he's doing right now as well. So I want to give you a shout out for that.
I mean, it totally makes sense. There's no reason, like, if you're going to be down for an extended period of time, you've got something that needs to be addressed. You might as well do it, not drag that out any longer than it needs to be. But when he comes back now, he should be fully healthy and able to go.
100%, my friend. Well, I don't know what's going on with the toe injuries this year, but it's been crazy. In fact, the Dolphins back in the day used to have a receiver by the name of Chris Chambers who had to retire from turf toe. So I know it sounds like a funny injury and not that big of a deal, but it certainly is, especially when you're trying to plant and all
a
that.
True turf toe, like what Joe Burrow is currently dealing with, according to all reports, and just the sheer fact that he had surgery tells me it's a true turf toe. That is a devastating injury. You lose a lot of power. You lose a lot of ability to push off that foot, cut, pivot, powerful change of direction, sudden change of direction. It's an issue, especially at running back position, wide receiver position, and the cornerback position. This was an injury that Deion Sanders dealt with in his career that eventually led to him having all those problems with his big toe and foot. So it's not a benign injury when it is a true turf toe, which is what Joe Burrow has, unfortunately.
Well, that little picky not going to market, that's for sure. All right, Brian, well, we appreciate you, my friend. We'll see you on Sunday morning, and we'll get maybe some updates on some of these guys and see what's going on with their status for Sunday. So I appreciate you joining us, my friend. Don't forget to follow Bri on all social media platforms as well, right here on That Sports Podcast Network. Does some great interviews lined up in there at the Injured List Pod. Yeah, I was about to say .com for some reason. I don't know why.
You can do that
too. All right, we appreciate you, Bri. We'll send you out with our friends from NeuroGuard Plus.
Dr. Michael Hutchison has harnessed the latest in neuromuscular dentistry and impact technology to develop a mouthguard that does more than protect. It enhances. NeuroGuard Plus isn't just a mouthguard. By focusing on the jaw's physiological position, it provides an added layer of neuroprotection, significantly reducing the risk of sports-related neurological injuries. All athletes should be using a custom mouthguard designed to their bite position. NeuroGuard Plus was created as a means to maintain your physiological jaw position regardless of your bite. The appliance is designed to optimize your upper-lower jaw relationship to improve your strength, your balance, your oxygen intake, and drastically lower your chance of a concussion. Independent studies have shown that the NeuroGuard Plus will provide you with improvement to both upper and lower body strength. The same improvements were not present with a common mouthguard. Over 6,500 athletes have used the NeuroGuard Plus. Dr. Hutchison is happy to say that the amount of diagnosed concussions is 0.2%. The NeuroGuard Plus offers athletes, coaches, and parents an advantage to keep their players safe on the field. If you or your child actively participates in athletics, they need to be protected from the dangers of repetitive head trauma. Get your NeuroGuard Plus mouthguard today. Click on the link and use code ILPSports for 10% discount on your purchase.
All righty. So, first of all, let me just comment real quick on one thing Brian said when we were talking about Joe Burrow, because, I listen to other fantasy podcasts, and a lot of them are saying to stash Joe Burrow. on your IR. And I'm telling you right now, don't waste your time. He's not coming back for you for fantasy this season. So go ahead and drop his ass. We had a dumbass in our league, our little home league, that was questioning what to do because now he had Aaron Jones. He had Joe Burrow in the IR and now Aaron Jones. And then he had someone else. I can't remember. Anyway, long story short, the obvious answer is just to let go of Burrow. He's not going to do anything for your fantasy roster this season. So just do it already. And if I haven't mentioned it before, I'm not a big fan of the Thursday night game when it comes to fantasy because, I like to plan my Sunday and all this. And Thursday just comes too quick. And now I got to talk about America's team getting beat for the fucking second time in a row. Let's go.
Breaking news. The boys from TSS Fantasy still don't know what the hell they are talking about.
I even did them a disservice. They've lost 3 in a row. The Miami Dolphins last night. They actually put up a good fight last night. It was a decent game. I can't really beat them up too much, but that's Miami. Like, when they play well, they still lose. Average Joes, whatever you want to call them, it is what it is. The defense, the way that game started, I even texted my dad, who unfortunately, doesn't understand how to use Prime. So I'm texting him what's going on in the game, and I felt like in the first quarter, I was like, the Bills aren't going to punt this whole game. Like, they were just doing whatever they wanted. Then all of a sudden, Miami bowed up a little bit for once and actually, showed themselves they could be a good defense this year. So, I was pretty impressed with how they played last night. 31-21, had a chance, of course, in the end. And, of course, Bumblebee run into the kicker and then Tua throws a pick. Same old Miami bullshit. Anyway, so if you played Devon Achane, you had an okay night. Especially PPR-wise, 7 receptions, only had 29 yards, but that's 7 points, or that's 9.9 points just on the receptions alone. Had 62 on the ground. Ollie Gordon is starting to look really nice there in the backfield as well. Tyreek Hill had an okay night, 5 receptions, 49 yards, and a TD. Jalen Waddle, 5 receptions, 39 yards, and a TD. On the Bills side, Josh Allen. And if I hear someone else say, Josh Allen doing Josh Allen things, like, I'm so tired of hearing that stupid comment. 213 yards, 3 TDs, 25 yards on the ground. James Cook had a great night, 108, 1 TD. Looking at receptions, 3 receptions for 10 yards. So he had a good night overall. Dalton Kincaid, welcome to the NFL. You're back. 5 receptions, 66 yards, and a TD. Khalil Shakir, 4 receptions, 45 yards, and a TD as well. So just real quick, I've already said my comments, and I'm done with it. So my friend and Cap for Life, we're going to answer those questions here in a second. I see you in there. What are your thoughts from last night, Justin?
It was the same old shit. Teams play up a little bit sometimes. You play up to a good team's level, and sometimes a good team plays down to a bad team's level. And at this point, that's what we're talking about here. You got one end is kind of like the shift of, are we going to be rebuilding soon? And the other end is kind of just like they're in this elite quarterback window. Honestly, my opinions don't matter on this one. I could care less who had won that game, who had lost that game. I didn't have a lot invested in it. I do have a question for you, though. It's a thinker, though. It really is. And I want you to think hard about this one. Would you rather be going into next season with Mike McDaniels or Tua?
Ooh. Okay. This actually, I don't need to think about this. It would be Mike McDaniels. I'd rather go into the season with him because, quite frankly, and I love Tua. He's a good guy. Don't get me wrong. But there's just do you see his deep balls? Has anyone seen this? You see this man try to throw a deep ball? It doesn't happen. So for me, I'm all in. I like Mike McDaniel too, mind you. Now, all his little quirky comments, they kind of wear on you when you're losing. They're fun when you're winning, but they sure the hell wear on you when you're losing. You're like, bro, enough. But I still and I could see the team fight for him last night too. That was the other takeaway I had last night because I thought, man, if this team comes in here and they just want to get rid of him, so maybe there's some, I don't know. To me, Tua wasn't his guy, but he came in here and he did what he was supposed to do, was boost Tua up. and got him going. He didn't come in here and be like, you suck to, let's get rid of like Brian Flores did. He actually tried to work with him and boost him up. And he did a great job with him at the beginning. But right now, like I said, Tua is limited, period. Like there is limitations to his game that that it's just very frustrating as a fan. I know if he's getting rushed, it ain't going to be like any other quarterback in the league. Now, last night he did a little something on the ground, but it's not like any other QB.
Did you hold your breath for a second there?
Oh my
when
God!
He slid. You're like,
when he dove forward, and this head went on the ground. I was like, oh my God, no. And that's not even for my season. That's just for him. Period. You know what I mean? Like he's just, it's scary. And like I said, the deep ball struggles with it. And you need a deep ball, period. You got Tyreek Hill. Like, he should be dropping, 70-yard bombs. Like, I don't get it. So, so to answer your question, it wasn't actually that hard. But, yeah, I'd ride with McDaniels all day.
That's kind of where I would lean, too, because it's kind of like Dayball, where it's like you kind of got stuck with a guy that not a lot of people like to begin with, and you made something good out of it. So I think naturally, if you were able to overcome that, you're allowed to have a year where you can pick your quarterback. Because that's the one thing they always say with coaches go out and they get their guy that first year. Now with, like you said, with McDaniels, his guy was kind of already chosen for him because they invested so much capital into him, and he made the most out of it. They went to the playoffs for 3 years in a row. So they were doing it. It was good. But I think at this point, you don't fire McDaniel. You kind of do what the Broncos did, and you kind of eat the cap, and you kind of go, fuck it. We just got to get rid of Tua.
Yeah, 100%. Cap, speaking of Cap for life. Welcome in, my brother. Appreciate you joining us tonight. Bro, he says, we play hard all for nothing at the end. Bro, this is the Miami Dolphins, though. That's what we do. We play hard, or we play well in the beginning of the season, and then we start fucking it up at the end. The biggest blue ball team there is the Miami Dolphins, period. Cat for Life agrees. He likes McDaniels. He said the NFL Network's Ian Rappaport reports that Dolphins owner Stephen Ross does not want to fire head coach Mike McDaniels. He might be seeing it too, man. He might be seeing it too. And agreed. This is the best part. Get rid of Greer. That I agree with. I felt like he rushed this team. Like it made this team like they had to win immediately, or this is the result is what we're seeing right now in 0-3 teams. So since we didn't take advantage of it right away, this team is not built for the long haul. So I totally agree with you. I do hope he gets to his trash. All right. Well, Cat for Life does have a question. So what do you think of this one? Does he trade Barkley and Tyler Warren for Hall, Mason, and BTJ? What do you think of that one?
Yeah, so I think he's trying to get Barkley and Tyler Warren.
Right, for his Hall.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. Which I totally agree. I mean, I would go for it. Tyler Warren has got off-the-chart potential. He's got that – he's literally in that upper echelon of tight ends where we're starting to talk about wide receiver 2, sometimes wide receiver 1, low-end numbers. And with BTJ right now, you're not getting that. He's also injured. They're not using him correctly. He's dropping the ball in the end zone. There's something just messed up in the water when it comes to Jacksonville because they just cannot get anything right. Even when they're doing good, they still can't get anything right. And then Mason is going to be, everybody's on Mason. I'm on Mason. I like Mason. But we got to remember he was only good for about 4 weeks last year in San Francisco, and that's because he wore the fuck down real quick. And then Hall, I don't like Hall's prospects with Fields gone. I have a feeling that he might be hitting the injury list soon. Hopefully it doesn't happen. But what happens when running backs are left pretty much to themselves? They tend to just get injured or fake an injury to get away from the team, whatever. But I have a feeling that we might start to see more Braylon Allen. You want to get the solid side of this trade. The real solid side is the Barkley Warren side. That's the side that's going to win you championships.
Saquon Barkley all day. If you can get a chance to get him, I'd be all over it. And plus Tyler Warren, like you said, he's obviously, it doesn't matter if it's Daniel Indiana Jones or Anthony Richardson or freaking Tua. You can throw the ball to Tyler Warren wherever the hell he is. He's got great hands, big presence. So I love that trade for you. I would definitely jump on that ASAP, hit that, smash it for the accept. And then he had a question, Atlanta D or Denver D? And I just want to say real quick, this is exactly why, if you ever listen to fantasy shows in the summer, if anyone says anything about strength of schedule, just turn the fuck off, because I am so tired of hearing strength of schedule when people don't know what these teams will look like. And this is a perfect example. This Atlanta Falcons defense is legit good. Like, we've seen it now. Again, we're starting to see a pattern. And now they got the Carolina Panthers, bro. I am definitely all in on Atlanta D. I know it makes it tough because it's still Denver D is good, but they're playing the Chargers, bro. Like, they got a pretty decent offense. They got took to the shed last week. But what do you think, Justin?
Yeah, so Denver still doesn't have Dre Greenlaw, which was their major acquisition this offseason, in the linebacking core, and it kind of shows. They're letting a lot across the middle. They're not stopping the run as well as we thought it would. Atlanta, while I still don't think they're a great defense, they are a good pass rush. And Carolina, right now, they are fumbling the bag. I mean, it was like the first or second play, Bryce Young just immediately fumbles the ball, and you just go, oh, this is going to be a rough one. This is going to be a rough one. So I can see Pierce, Walker, all those guys getting in that backfield and really messing up Carolina's chances. I totally agree with you on this one. Stick with Atlanta defense. Stick with the projections on this one. Denver, I think we kind of probably and here's the thing also. Never just get a defense because ESPN or Sleeper says they're the best defense. It never works out. Houston was there. Denver was there. And guess what? Some of the worst defenses after 2 weeks. Like, literally, like, I always say, stick with the teams you like to follow and stick with the teams you know. Because that'll actually tell you, like, what the truth is, because you'll be watching those games.
And don't ever, ever listen to strength of fucking schedule. I'm so tired of hearing that. If you watch this in the summer, you heard me say it then too. I just really done with hearing that. All righty. Well, damn, we got like 27 minutes in. We ain't even talked about a game yet. Let's go. Let's break it down.
It's time to get your lineup set with TSS Fantasy's Friday Night Breakdown.
Breakdown! Bring it on down! Breakdown! Bring it on down! Bring it on down! Bring it on down!
All right, Cat for Life doesn't. He's like, you know what? I want to keep you guys busy here. Fannin or Sanders? Carolina.
Fannin.
Yeah, it's Fannin for sure. Yeah. Is he talking about
Fannin?
Jatavian Sanders? That's what he's saying.
Jatavian Sanders from Carolina.
Got it. I got what you're saying. I was like not getting it at first. Gotcha. Yeah, I would definitely go Fannin. I mean, I have him in my home league because I had Kittle go down. I mean, I'm reading all kind of stuff about him. They really lining him up in the slot. Like, hello, like a tight end in the slot. Come on, baby. I love it, man. Get the opportunities there nonetheless. I know it's tough, though, because it's Cleveland. So what are you going to do? All right, let's go. This first matchup we got to talk about, the Bengals at the Vikings. I'm actually excited to see this, too, with the backup QBs. I would have loved to see this go at each other with full strength. But we are where we are. Anyway, Bengals, 13th against QBs, 31st against running backs, 21st against receivers, 21st against tight ends. The Vikings, 10th against QBs, 21st against running backs, 3rd against receivers, and 6th against tight ends. Give me Minnesota, guys you like and don't for this one.
I'm going to keep it real simple. I'm just going to say Justin Jefferson and Jordan Mason. It's Justin Jefferson's got to be foolproof at this point. I mean, if he can get Carson Wentz to throw him a touchdown, he truly will be quarterback proof. And he's got 5 weeks to prove that. So I think he's going to get something going. And then the Bengals are kind of just a weaker defense in general. So I'm going to go with, I'm just going to stick with the bread and butter guys. Hawkinson is he's frustrating because he's a guy we always talk about Kyle Pitts being that guy that's like really frustrating. Like TJ Hawkinson is not talked about enough. He goes in the top 10 every single year, and he always has a stretch where you go, why did I draft TJ Hawkinson? And why can't I drop him? Oh, because I picked him as a top 10 tight end. That's why I can't drop him.
Yeah, he is frustrating. I got him in the Scott Fishbowl league, and it's like, but luckily in that one, because it's so tight end premium, I have a bunch of tight ends, and he's definitely sitting on my bench now because I've just had enough. But I know that this is the week, since I just put him on my bench, that this is the week he's going to do something.
Cool.
Like, here, let me remind you what an idiot you are. On the Bengals side, I like Chase Brown in the matchup. And listen, Jake Browning ain't no joke now. You guys don't think that this Bengals team is going to take a huge dive after this injury. I like Jake Browning. He plays well. In fact, I don't know if it was the first time he played, but when he came out for Burrow before against these Vikings, by the way, not these Vikings, I should say, but another Vikings team, or not team, but you know what I mean. Anyway, long story short.
It wasn't this ship of Vikings. It was 2 years ago ships of Vikings.
It was the Santa Maria, basically. So on that ship, Jake Browning played very well. But the one thing I'll tell you is that he targeted Jamar Chase like crazy, which is a smart thing to do if you're getting yourself into this offense. So expect some good points from Jamar Chase. You might want to, I know it's going to be tough depending on who you have, but if you have other options, T. Higgins might be a shaky start in this particular matchup because, as I mentioned, how much he targets Jamar Chase. That was in the past. We'll see going forward. And I definitely am not starting Mike Gesicki. I don't like him in this matchup at all. Vikings are very good against the tight end. And Gesicki really ain't been doing much lately anyway, so I'm fading him on this game. All right, let's go to the next matchup. The Houston Texans go to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Houston against fantasy QBs are 17th, 25th against running backs, 23rd against receivers. They're 4th against tight ends. The Jags, 16th against QBs, 9th against running backs, 26th against receivers, and 10th against tight ends. So who do you like on this Jacksonville Jaguars?
Yeah, so this is actually, it's tough because I'm like, this is a good matchup for the Jags. I like ETN 100%. Damn it, Leduc.
Oh, that was his video, he said. Yeah.
It's the stupid ass video. But I like ETN. I like Basal Tucson. BTJ, he's got 3 drops this year. He's 3rd in the league with drops. He's getting all these targets, and they're moving him around all over the place. He's got a 34% first target share or first read target. So he's getting looks all the time. It's just not clicking. Now, I'm not going to say, don't play him if you have him, unless you have better options, of course. But if you're looking down the barrel of having your bench players, you play them for one more week, but you kind of set in the whole idea that maybe this is going to be a 9-point week. You don't look at the projection saying he's going to be 16. You go, this could be a 9-point week. On that fact, I will also say Trevor Lawrence might actually have a good week, but he could. It won't be like an amazing week. I'm not putting it towards like the top of the line weeks. I'm just saying he might have an okay week. And then, I would say the one guy I really want to get invested in is Brenton Strange, because I think after a certain point, Brenton Strange, Travis Hunter, this is going to be the new wave of the offense, especially if BTJ either can't go or keeps on showing that he's not good at this point. So I would look for Travis Hunter to maybe have that breakout game. But I still, confidence-wise, I'm not putting him on your first team. He might be on your bench, but if he scores, just remember I said it's going to be
Yeah, I would say I would give Travis Hunter a flex spot depending on who I have in my lineup, of course, but I think he's worthy of it. And by the way, total BS call on him last week with a pass interference. That was total BS. I just want to throw that out there. On the Houston side, Listen, I'm fading Nick Chubb. I know he got in the end zone last week, but it's not the Nick Chubb we used to know. Or it's not the offensive line Nick Chubb used to know too. It could be either one of those things, but he's just not that guy. And the Jags actually play the run pretty well. They're 9th against fantasy QBs, so I'm fading him this week. CJ Stroud's been very underwhelming. Quite obviously, everyone was a little excited, hoping that he'd come back this year, but he looks even worse than he did last year. What I've seen so far, so I'm definitely fading CJ Stroud this week. But what I'm not fading is that this is the week you're going to see some Nico Collins up in this joint. So if you got Nico, I know I said I'm fading Stroud, but that doesn't mean he's going to throw for 2 yards. So I'm definitely smash starting Nico this week. I think this is going to be the week we're going to see a little something out here. And I believe Christian Kirk is back in this lineup, so it's possible revenge game for Mr. Kirk. So maybe, I don't know if I'd put him in my flat. I can't. Nah, never mind. I'm not even going to say that. But it could be, like Justin said, if he's on your roster, just remember I mentioned that he could be good this week. Anyway, so just throwing that out there. All right, let's go to the next one. Colts at the Titans. Colts are 6th against fantasy QBs, 16th against running backs, 17th against receivers, 9th against tight ends. Tennessee, number 2 against QBs, 23rd against running backs, 28th against receivers, and they're 20th against tight ends. See, that's so strange. Number 2 against quarterbacks and 28th against receivers. Wow, that's strange. All right, what do you think, my friend? What about those Tennessee Titans? Give me guys you like and don't like.
Yeah, I'm big on this game. I think this is low-key going to be an interesting game. I'm big on Alec Eiermeyer, as I've told everybody. I was my guy back when nobody even knew how to say this guy's fucking name. So just going to throw that out there, But, I think you see the development of a relationship between these two guys, especially on the field, right? Like, who would have known that, pass from the other side of the field, he was going to find this young kid out there. But it was deadly too. It was right on the money. I'm down on Calvin Ridley. I'm absolutely down on Calvin Ridley. He is looking old. He is not looking like he was cashing the checks that preseason was writing right now. And I think, honestly, you got to kind of just it's a wait-and-see basis. I understand if you have nobody better, wait and see. But it might be one of those guys you're trying to ship off before he gets real bad, or you're trying to bench before he gets real bad. And then I don't want any part of Chig. And to be honest with you, I really don't even want any part of Tony Pollard. I know it's an okay matchup, but he's just been terrible. He's been pretty bad. And if you got Tony Pollard, hey, more power to you. You got a starting running back. That's pretty much all you can say about Tony Pollard. You got a starting running back. It's like Nick Chubb. It's like Nick Chubb. What can you say about Nick Chubb? He's a starting running back.
You're right. You're not wrong. That's for sure. But I kind of like, Pollard a little bit here, but it is surprising with Tajay Spears being out of this mix, how I thought he'd be to the roof for a while. So you're 100%. You're not wrong. He's definitely.
And you know what? Here's the thing. He's to the roof with touches. He's just on the bottom of the barrel as far as efficiency. His efficiency is all out of whack. He's like Kyron Williams. He can't get 4 yards a carry. So
go ahead, my bad.
No. Go ahead. I was done.
Okay, you're good. I was just moving on to the Colts because I want to say that I feel like it's funny that the new nickname for Daniel Jones is Indiana Jones. That's cute, but I feel like this week is going to be the Temple of Doom for him, quite frankly, because I think the Titans are going to surprise and win this game. But not to say he's not going to play well, but they are going to be outside for the first time. I'm just kind of feeling like this is like one of those, like the Colts come back down to earth. You're going to start Jonathan Taylor, obviously. I don't need to tell you that. But there's nobody in this receiving core that I'm like, ooh, Michael Pittman or Josh Downs. Like, you got to put him in your lineup. I'm not. I mean, this is a good matchup, but I just feel like you're kind of picking your poison here. Now, I will tell you, like we were saying earlier, Tyler Warren, for sure, no doubt about it. I think Pittman's more of a flex option, quite frankly, and I'm not even looking at Josh Downs right now because he is one of those Rashid Shaheed type players that have great games sometimes, and sometimes they do nothing. So for me, and I'm sorry, I'm not on the Daniel Jones train. I don't think he shows out this week. So that's just, one man's opinion. What do you guys think? All right, let's go to the next one. The Raiders at the Commanders. Another interesting backup QB game because the Raiders 18th against QBs, 5th against running backs, 29th against receivers, and 5th against tight ends. Commanders 14th against QBs, 8th against running backs, 6th against receivers, 27th against tight ends. Who you like on the Commanders?
I like Mariota. I like Mariota because they're playing the Raiders. I think the Bill Krosky could have a very solid game. He's easily a flex for me. He's not a starting running back. I wouldn't put him as a priority, but if you have a flex spot and he's on your team, I'd put him there. Hopefully this is the game that Scary Terry gets right. I think you got to continue playing him until he gets right. Unless it gets into like week 7 and he's still not right, then you kind of go like, fuck you. And then Zach Ertz is just the play of the game. He's the play of the week. This is tailor-made for a Zach Ertz game. He's a backup quarterback. He's a running quarterback. Zach Ertz knows how to get open. He knows how to break zone. And, this is, in my opinion, it's a tailor-made game for Ertz to go off. Like, he's already been going off, but I think it's going to continue this week. Another 20-point game is what I picture from him.
I think Terry gets scary in this game. That's the only thing I'm going to say. I think it's going to see
scary in a good way or scary in a bad way.
In a good way. I think he's just due. I think it's time. We're going to see a Terry scary score this week. On the Raiders side, I mean, with Geno Smith, if I don't know if you've got injuries and he's, somebody out there, I guess. I mean, I'm not like loving it. No, I'm not. I can't even go there. Ashton Genty actually has been a lot of these rookie running backs, have been very underwhelming. But I believe in this game, this is where we're going to see a little bit of hardcore running from Ashton Genty. I think he has a good game this week. I mean, I'm at RB2, low end RB1 with him this week. I think he has a good one. And other than that, obviously Brock Bowers against a team that's 27th against tight ends in the league. I mean, that's an easy one to say. And just, Jacoby Myers, maybe. Maybe a flex, maybe. But it's Brock Bowers and Ashton Genty really for me in the matchup. The others, I'm just kind of like, whatever. Did my camera go out?
Yeah. I was gonna wait until you were done talking, but yeah, you went black.
Wow, that's weird. All righty. Well, let's go to the next one, and I'll fix it as you talk about the Eagles, because we got the Rams at the Eagles. Rams are number 1 against fantasy quarterbacks, number 1 against running backs. They're 8th against receivers, 16th against tight ends. Eagles, 11th against QBs, 10th against running backs, 9th against receivers, and 11th against tight ends. So what say you about the champ Philadelphia Eagles? I'm going to try to fix it.
Yeah. So I'm going to go with, in this matchup, I like Saquon Barkley. I think it's going to continue. The Rams I misspoke about Tony Pollard. The Rams did allow 92 yards to Tony Pollard last week. So 92 yards in Tony Pollard versus Saquon Barkley is going to be a huge upgrade for this week. So if you got him, put him in. I think the same is about Jalen Hurts. If you got him, put him in. Those tush pushes are deadly, and he's almost at this point, foolproof, guaranteed money every single week. And then the receivers, god damn, dude, I don't know what to do. There's a part of me that's like, I've already, like, in some leagues, I'm benching Devonta Smith. That's not even a hard decision for me. But A.J. Brown, I don't have a lot of A.J. Brown exposure, and I'm starting to go, do I want to even keep him in my lineups? Because you know it's coming, but you just wonder how long it's going to take to get there. You know what I mean? This Rams defense is pretty good. They're not so great against the run, which just kind of feeds right into Philly's game plan for week 1 and 2. So you kind of go, are they just going to keep doing that? Are they just going to keep mauling you to death? Yeah, exactly. And then, is A.J. Brown going to continue to be irrelevant for a third straight week? That's not what you paid the price for. You didn't pay for him to be irrelevant for 3 straight weeks. And there's BTJ irrelevant, and then there's how many points does he have through 2 weeks? Single digits? What? So, I'll start him 1 more week, but it's gonna kind of be it's gonna be nut cutting time next week if he doesn't start producing. That's for sure. And then the tight end, he's probably the only one I trust because he's the only one that's shown out and has had good chemistry so far with Jalen Hurts. So yeah, Dallas Goedert's out there. I will definitely be throwing Dallas Goedert. Now I think he has come out as healthy. He had an injury before, but if he's out there, you can guarantee he's in my lineup.
Yeah, I'm in between on this because I feel like this is going to be more of a defensive game that we're going to see out of this matchup. But I feel like if remember when these teams played in the playoffs, it was some good points going around. These guys were putting up some. The Rams actually moved the ball pretty well against the Eagles and during the playoff matchup. Now, is that the case in week 3 in Philly? I don't know. But it could get interesting on Philly's side of the ball because they may be forced to throw if Stafford can get off. But as I say that, I'm not big on anyone on the Rams. I'm sitting here trying to run through it in my head. If you got Puka and Devonta, you have to start them, but they're in the flex range for me. I don't like Kyron Williams. I don't like Blake Corum. This Philly run D has proven that they are one of the best in the league, so I'm just not feeling it. But like I said, they were able to move the ball on them before, so it could be just one of those anomalies, but I don't see it. There's nobody on the Rams, quite frankly, that I would give you advice to start this week. All right, let's go to the next matchup, the Falcons at the Panthers. Falcons against fantasy QBs, 5th. They're 4th against running backs. They're 13th against receivers and numero uno against tight ends. Carolina, 3rd against QBs, 17th against running backs, 2nd against receivers, 30th on tight ends. So what say you? Who you like on the Carolina Panther side?
I'm going to keep it real quick. Chuba Hubbard and Tedero McMillan, only guys that are producing at a flex level for you. I'd be happy to put either one of those guys as my flex. Chuba Hubbard can be an RB2 in my lineups. Outside of that, I think it's going to be a real miserable day for Bryce Young. Last week, the Cardinals let you get a couple points. I don't know if the Falcons are going to do that. This is a division opponent. You got to shut down division opponents because these are teams that know each other. So these are the teams that are going to step on the throat if they need to. So I wouldn't bank on Bryce Young having that come from behind success this week against the Falcons. And like I said, Tedero McMillan is really surprising. Obviously Sands having a touchdown, it's been pretty good output. He's putting up yards and he's catching quite a few passes. He's obviously the number 1 out there. I would be worried about actually, you know what? Big shout out to Hunter Renfrow. PPR leagues, Hunter Renfrow is worth a stash on that one. He's worth looking at again. I wouldn't be so comfortable flexing him in this one, but he's worth keeping your eye on and looking at. But yeah, I'll ship it off to you at that point. It's Chuba and Ted.
If you drafted Bijan Robinson number 1 overall, you are about to get your money's worth this week. This is going to be the easy smash start this week. It's an anomaly with the Carolina secondary because I don't think they're really that great, but number 2 against receivers. But I think that's just because, nobody really needs to throw it to the receivers against them. So, it's like, so Drake London is at least a wide receiver 2 this week, if not a low end receiver 1 for me. And I hate to say it, but Kyle, it's hard to even get it out. Kyle Pitts this week. Pitts. But they're 30th against tight ends. So, hello, it's a good matchup. Bump it, get him in there. I'm not really sold on Michael Penix Jr. yet, quite frankly. So, it's not somebody I'm like, yeah, you got to get this guy in your lineup this week. But he's somebody worth a stash if he's still out there on your free agency.
His only good game, his only 30-point game has come against the Carolina.
Well, and there you go. See, there you go. So anyway, that's who I like this week in this matchup. Let's go to the Steelers at the New England Patriots. 28th the Steelers are against fantasy QBs, or 19th against running backs, 20th against receivers, and 17th against tight ends. The Patriots are 21st against fantasy QBs, 18th against running backs, 31st against receivers, and 18th against tight ends. So what say you on that home team, the New England Patriots?
Yeah, so this one is a toss-up for me. I really like Drake May, and the Steelers' defense has been terrible, but I'm kind of going back and forth because this could be the week that these guys really just like to fire under their ass and turn it on. And so for me, Drake May is a QB2. He's a second option for you. If you got somebody better, put him in. Travion Henderson, you got to prove it to me. I'm tired of putting you in my lineup and get 4 points, get 5 points. I'm tired of it. So you got to prove it to me. You're going straight to the bench, and if you put 20 points on the bench, I'm okay with that because I'm going to get it next week. And then, I know the dog's going. But as far as the receivers go, Kayshon Boutte came back to earth last week. Stephon Diggs didn't show up. And then, so it's kind of the Patriots. Long story short, the Patriots are a lot of guys that maybe you could flex. But nobody I really want to solidify, go start that guy. Because I don't know who's going to get the pass. I don't, is it going to be a Diggs week? Is it going to be a Boutte week? Is it going to be a Hunter Henry week? Is Travion Henderson finally going to do well? The only one I'll say is solid flex is Ramondre Stevenson. Let me go shut this dog up real quick.
Yeah, I was about to say that as you were concluding. Ramondre Stevenson would be my guy in this particular matchup. But that's about it. Steelers-wise, hey, man, D to the K this week. DK could be in set for a great day. Not to say Aaron Rodgers is going to blow the doors off, but I think Aaron Rodgers will have a decent game in this matchup. And, I don't know really what to say about these running backs. Jaylen Warren, I guess, he's maybe a flex for me, especially in PPR. But this running game really hasn't established itself. So, like I said, Jaylen Warren may be the only guy I could see doing really anything in this matchup. And other than, of course, my man DK Metcalf, put him in your lineups this week. I'm smash starting DK this week. All right, let's go to the next matchup as Justin's poor dog is getting whooped by a newspaper. The Green Bay Packers visit the Cleveland Browns. Green Bay is 12th against fantasy QBs, 6th against running backs, 15th against receivers, 28th against tight ends. The Browns, 20th against QBs. They are number 2 against running backs, 18th against receivers, and 7th against tight ends. So what say you, my friend, on those Cleveland Browns?
Oh,
the dog pound. That was actually good timing.
Oh, that was perfect timing, wasn't it? But anyways, I'll tell you this about the Cleveland Browns. I want to be a part of the Cleveland Browns. Man, this offense looks pitiful. I will say Quinshon Judkins looked nice. I'd like to see him follow up that 60-yard rapport this week. And, as far as Judy, Tillman, no, I don't want any of that. Flacco, catch me with something else. The tight end, Fannin and Joku are the only ones that have been delivering as far as PPR stats go. They've both been really good. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough to roster any Browns on your team year in and year out. But I would just stick with Fannin and Quinishon Junkins. I'm really telling you heart to heart, I would stick with those two. I think they have the best chance of breaking the mold flex players.
Yeah, I'd say that's where the leak is, if there is one. It's Cleveland Browns team. That's poor dog get whooped. On the Cleveland Browns, this defense has been really lights out, but the one area that they have had a little bit of weakness is against the tight end. So I think Fannin is a good play this week. And as far as the Packers are concerned, I think this is the golden moment. I think this is the week where we're going to see Matthew Golden get one or two TDs.
His golden hands.
With his golden hands, I'll be getting a couple this week. So I'm flexing him. I'll put it that way, because he's high reward. What is it at? High risk, high reward. Yeah, I guess that's where I was going.
I was going to say, he's in a low risk, that's for sure.
Well, it's a low risk. Yeah,
he's definitely a high risk.
I caught myself like, wait a minute, dumbass. So anyway, yeah. So I like Golden this week. I think he's a good play. I don't know what to say about Josh Jacobs. Like, this Cleveland Brown front seven's good. So, he's not somebody that I'm like, oh yeah, but I still think obviously you draft him pretty high. He's in your lineup, but I think he's more of a flex worthy option this week. Jordan Love,
he's going for a crazy record this week. I think he's going for 13 straight games with a touchdown, which would tie LaDainian Tomlinson. Yeah.
Really? I did not know that. Wow.
Here's another one for you. Jordan Love is on 9 straight games without an interception, which I told you last week is officially a Packers record, beating Bart Starr. But I would have never thought it, because I always thought Jordan Love was more Brett Favre than Aaron Rodgers, but he's putting his best Aaron Rodgers on right now.
Yeah, bro. Hey, we got a question here from Wall to the window to the walls. He wants to know Mason or Wilson in the flex.
I'd go Mason, because I'm assuming it's Garrett Wilson, and I don't know if Garrett Wilson with Tyrod Taylor is going to be it, but I do know Mason's going to get fed quite a bit with Carson Wentz as the quarterback.
Yeah, I love this. I love Jordan Mason this week. If you catch any of our shorts this week, you'll see Jordan Mason in pretty much every single one of them. So he's a good start for me this week. All right, let's go to the next. And thank you, Walls, by the way, for your question. Let's go to the Jets at the Bucks. The Jets against fantasy QBs are numero 22, 24th against running back, 16th against receivers, and 25th against tight ends. The Bucks are 23rd against QBs, 22nd against running backs, 5th against receivers, and 12th against tight ends. They say, glad I drafted you. Hell yeah, bro. You should be 1,000% glad you drafted him. I have him actually. It's funny because I have him in my dynasty team, and I was so close to dropping him right in during like this. It was way early before in the summer. Like it was like kind of right after the season. I was like, why do I need Jordan Mason on my roster? But thankfully I kept him there because, man, it's a great play, especially this week and going forward. So, sorry. So I just broke down Jets at the Bucks. Who do you like from the Bucks, Justin?
Everyone. I love Bucky Irving. Rashad White is dialed into possibly being a flex for you. I would wait one more week just to make sure to confirm that usage is correct and that he's going to be a big part of this offense going forward. Then, it's Mike Evans' show. Emeka Ibuka I would not go with just because of the injuries. He's kind of shaken up. But Mike Evans, even against Sauce Gardner, I think he's still a touchdown threat at least. And then, Godwin's not back just yet. So I think, you kind of stick with Mike Evans, Bucky Irving, and like I said, Rashad White, you can flex him. I won't flex him just yet. Like I said, I got to see one more week. And then I'll take Baker because Baker's going to run too. I know Baker's going to run in this game. He's going to need to run because that pass rush is going to try and get to him. So I think this is going to be a tougher win than we think it's going to be. But I think it's going to be one of those games where you're going to be happy that you have Buccaneers in your lineup because I think they're going to get fed. You're on mute.
I hate to say anything good about the Jets ever, so I'm going to try not to. But real quick, Walls wants to know, he just picked up Nico Collins and Monty. So for Warren, Hill, and Connor, what do you think of this deal?
I think it's got a lot of upside. Monty seems to be healthy and back to normal. I was wondering with his advanced age, I say advanced age, I think he's only like 29. But with his advanced age as a running back and the injury that he sustained, I was worried. But they seem to plugged him right back into his role, which is great. And then, hopefully, like you said, Nico gets it going. It's going to bank more on Stroud than anything else. Stroud is just not seeing the field right now. You can see him struggling. Maybe it wasn't a smart idea to get rid of your pro ball left tackle for a bag of chips. Maybe you should have, I don't know, gotten somebody else in return or, picked a really good tackle to replace him. But who am I? I'm not a GM. I don't do this for a living. I just see here and I sit back. I see facts and do common sense things in my head. Whatever. But yeah, so I think it could be a good trade. Unfortunately, right now, I'd probably lean the other way just because we saw Tyreek Hill seems to be doing all right now. James Conner is going to be doing really good as the season goes on. And then Jaylen Warren, I mean, you said it, Pittsburgh's rush game hasn't been that great, but Jaylen Warren as a receiver has been really good.
That is very true. So depending if what kind of league you're in, most leagues are PPR now, but so yeah. I'm kind of in between on this. Like I said, I'm excited for Nico Collins. But I think you might have given a little much, I guess. It would be my thing in this one. But I do like the Nico.
It'd be nicer if Monty was Gibbs. If Monty was Gibbs, I'd be like, that's perfect.
Yeah,
that's
just
perfect.
Throw on Malik Neighbors while you're at it. All right, let's go. But so, like I was saying before, I don't like to say a lot of good things about the Jets, but Tyrod Taylor, I don't know. I think it would be a little struggle here for Garrett Wilson this week. But I like Breece Hall. I think this Tampa Bay, like you say, saw Nick Chubb go up the middle for 20 yards on the TD. So I think Breece Hall will have a decent day in this matchup, but that's pretty much it on the Jets side. There's really nothing else I like. Like you said, it's Tyrod Taylor. All right, so he said Wall said he already has Saquon and Chase Brown, by the way, as well as Drake London. Okay, that's a nice match. I like that. Okay, yeah, it's a nice little matchup. All right, let's go real quick. We're going to go to the 4:00 games. Before we do, however, our girl Meg, she's a bouncer, right? So she wanted to let us know some of the players that are not getting in her club this week. So let's check it out real quick from Meg, the Meg Zone.
Meg Zone.
I can't even talk right now. Here we go.
Yeah, baby, I'm in some MEG Zone today.
Security.
Hi guys, welcome to the MEG Zone, my exclusive club where only the best NFL players make it through the door. Anyone who I don't think is up to standard will not get into this club. So let's start off with my stoppages this week. First up, we have Derrick Henry.
Security.
He is not making it into the club this week. The MEG Zone is closed for Derrick Henry. He made some real costly mistakes last week. He was not in his top form, he was not reading the ball well, and let's be honest, he is facing the Detroit Lions this week, who have shown up and shown that they are here to play ball. And I don't think he's going to be able to get through that defence. So for me, Derrick Henry is too risky to be on my team this week, and I've taken him out and replaced him wherever I can. Next up, we have Justin Herbert.
Security.
He's had a strong start to the season. However, they faced Denver this weekend, and Denver got their asses handed to them by the Colts last weekend. Now, Denver are a very proud team. They're very proud of that defence. They're one of the best defences in the league, and I would be very concerned about what Justin Herbert can do against that defence. Finally, we have Chuba Hubbard.
Security.
Carolina. Now, they are facing the Atlanta Falcons this weekend, who last weekend showed that they have an absolutely stonewall defence. There is no getting through that. Now, the Carolina Panthers are notoriously a weak offensive team. They don't have a lot of strength. Bryce Young is still not at capacity. He's still not shown us really what he can do, and I don't think he's good enough to get through that Atlanta defence that we saw last weekend. So I am saying to Chuba Hubbard, you're not getting into the Meg Zone this week, and I will be replacing him wherever possible. For more hints, tips and tricks on fantasy football, make sure to follow me, Ballers_Meg, across all the social media platforms for all the latest news and updates.
All right, Meg, appreciate you, but I'm going to disagree on that Derrick Henry one right now. I'll tell you right now, boy, damn, ain't no way in the hell I ain't starting Derrick Henry this week. All right, well, she just mentioned it. Let's talk about it. The Broncos at the Chargers. Broncos against fantasy QBs are 4th, 13th against running backs, 4th against receivers, 15th against tight ends. Chargers, 9th against QBs, 3rd against running backs, 11th against receivers, 22nd against tight ends. So, do you agree with Meg? Is Justin Herbert not in your Justin zone?
Oh no, Justin Herbert is the marquee of the Justin zone. That's what it is, right? Yeah, he's the marquee. I mean, he is the big name player right now as far as the Chargers go. And it's funny how we do this to ourselves as fantasy analysts. We always go, oh man, he's disappointed the past 2 seasons. He's fucking trash. Then next thing you know, motherfucker turns it on. That's why I always try and stick with the opposite sometimes. You know, even the opposite of what I'm thinking. I'm like, yeah, he's probably going to be garbage. I'm like, no. Why don't you get him in a couple leagues and see if he wins you some money? But yeah, I know I like Herbert. He's obviously throwing the ball a ton now. He's figured out how to utilize Quentin Johnston. Lad McConkey is just going to get better throughout the season. And, you know, I really, honestly, I want to see Arundel Gadsden out there in that offense now. I'm sick and tired of seeing big country Will Dissly out there. Let's get the real fucking athlete out there. Let's get the guy who's named after a former freaking, I don't know if he was a pro baller, but I know he was a former Dolphin for sure. I don't know if that makes him any good, but.
Well, Danny made Rondé Gatson look real good, but Rondé Gatson was a strong. What I remember about him, a very strong receiver. Like would go up and get it, and you weren't taking it from him. So I've talked about Rondé Gatson before the season started. I was really high on him, but the of course injury bug. I should have mentioned it to Brian. I wasn't even thinking about it, but I think he is a go this week. I know he was still questionable, but I think that's kind of hurt him a little bit, at least at start. But you're right. Once he starts to get going, I like him a lot going forward. On the Broncos side,
I do want to say one quick second because I didn't touch the running backs. I'm sorry.
Oh, my bad.
Don't play any of the running backs. I think it's officially going to become a committee because Hampton's not working out. So I don't want to trust either Hampton or Najee to be taking a majority or enough of the carries to get 100 yards.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's Meg was right about one thing. The Broncos D is good. They had a little bit of a hit the buzzsaw, which is the Indianapolis Colts last week. I know. Anyway, as far as on the Denver side, J.K. Dobbins definitely I would put in the flex. I mean, he's proven right now that he's running well in this offense. Again, I hate to even say anything good about J.K., but he is definitely at least a flex-worthy running back this week. I know everyone's high on Troy Franklin, and he's got the little, history with Bo Nix being in college together. But this week is a tough matchup, I think, for Bo Nix and these receivers. So, nobody that I'm really like, in fact, one league I have Caleb Williams, and I'm putting him over Bo Nix in my lineup this week just because of the matchup, quite frankly, not because I think Caleb is any better. It's just matchup wise. Chargers are also a tough defense to play against, and they're in LA. So, I just think it's a tough matchup for them. Bo Nix is, if you have something better or a better matchup, I would go with it. Again, Troy Franklin, flex maybe. I'm definitely going to flex Court Sutton too. I think those are kind of easy plays as well. Evan Ingram, I don't remember if Doc mentioned it. He's out this game as well. So, again, less weapons for Bo Nix going into this matchup. All right, let's go the Saints at the Seahawks. Saints 28th against QBs, 26th against running backs, 10th against receivers, 26th against tight ends. Seattle 8th against QBs, 30th against running backs. They are number 1 against receivers, but dead last against tight ends. What do you say about the Seattle Seahawks?
I say it's the perfect week to start Sam Darnold. I think Sam Darnold, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Kenneth Walker is a guy I'm like, if you got DFS, go put Kenneth Walker in. I think he sits around 5,600 right now. That's a fucking steal. That dude is going to do some damage against the Saints. It's a great week if you're a Seahawks player. The Saints are rolling into town, and they've pretty much gotten beaten up by a backup team and the Cardinals. So you could easily say, hey, we're going to go 0 for 3 in the NFC West, and we're just going to be the punching bags again. Your camera's out again, by the way.
I'll make this easy. Kamara, and that's pretty much it for me on the Saints. So, the Seahawks D is pretty decent, but they have had their vulnerability against the run. So Kamara is a good play, but I don't believe in Spencer Rattler against this Seattle secondary. And also, I like Seattle's D in this matchup as well. I think that's an easy play. And I totally agree with you with Charbonnet having some issues, injury issues. I'm definitely all in on Kenneth Walker this week. It's an easy play for sure. All right. Fantasy bonanza game, the Cowboys at the Bears. So here are your stats. Against QBs, Dallas is 30th, 20th against tight ends, 30th against receivers, 14th against tight ends. The Bears, dead last against QBs. They are 29th against running backs, 27th against receivers, 24th on tight ends. So what say you guys you like, don't like on the Bears?
Shit. Caleb Williams. DeAndre Swift I think he's questionable with a thigh injury, if I remember, a quad injury. But, if he goes, I like what he was doing last week as well. Roma Dunze, for sure, is a starter. For sure is a starter. And then, you know what? If you have a flex spot and you're really looking for a shot at it, I know DJ Moore has been almost non-existent. I think that this week, Ben Johnson gave them a little pep talk. I think everybody's going to get their shit together. I think the Bears are going to go out there and give the Cowboys a hell of a game, kind of like the Giants did. I'm excited for this game. It's going to bring a lot of points to the scoreboards for everybody in the fantasy teams. So I would put just about everybody I had, except for the tight ends and Luther Burden. Any other Bear, I would safely assume, could probably get you at least 10 to 15 points.
I like it. Like you said, I'm smash starting pretty much anyone I can. Dak's a great play this week in DFS as well. I like Javonte Williams, and why wouldn't I? The guy's played lights out so far this season, and it's a good matchup for him. Obviously, CeeDee Lamb, see him come out with a big game. And you got to like George Pickens, and just throw in Jake Ferguson while I'm at it. They just put it all in. These are your guys you start this week because this is where you're going to get your fantasy points. So I love this matchup. All right, let's go Cardinals at 49ers. Arizona 15th against QBs, 15th against running backs, 22nd against receivers, 29th against tight ends. The 49ers, 7th against QBs, 11th against running backs, 14th on receivers, 13th on tight ends. What say you guys? You like and don't like? My camera's out again.
I was gonna say, but So I love on the 49ers side, I'm big on Christian McCaffrey and Ricky Pearsall. Not huge on Mac Jones this week. I think this is going to be kind of a back and forth game. It's going to be kind of a grind to get down the field. You're going to want to get both kickers, Eddie Pinheiro, and I think it's Chad Rhineland for the Cardinals. You're going to want to get both kickers on your team. This is going to be one of those games. It's like 19 to fucking 14 or something like that. I can feel it in the air. So yeah, Pearsall, McCaffrey, Rhineland. If I have better options than Mac Jones, I'm putting better options than Mac Jones out there. And I'm not trusting the second tight end from the for the 49ers because, like I said last week, it's actually Luke Farrell who caught a touchdown, and he didn't do you shit afterwards. He didn't do a goddamn thing afterwards.
Yep. I'm glad I took your advice. I took tongues out of my lineup because I was like, all right, maybe I was tripping. So yeah, I agree with you. Although you gotta like Trey McBride, no matter what, because they target the shit out of him. Marvin Harrison Jr.'s up and down, so maybe a flex option this week. I'm not in love with Kyler Murray, and James Conner, showing a little bit of that age, but you're seeing. And we'll see probably a bit more of Trey Benson in this as they start to, I guess, fade him out, if you will. But like you said, later he'll be good. I just don't think this is a good matchup for him, but he's probably maybe flex worthy at best. All right, let's go. KC at the Giants. 24th against QBs are the Chiefs, 7th against running backs, 25th against receivers, 3rd against tight ends. The Giants, 27th against QBs, 28th against running backs. They are dead last against receivers, and 24th against tight ends. So give me guys you like and don't like for those Giants.
Well, you know what? After last week, you kind of got to play Russ. This Chiefs defense has not been the same Chiefs defense we've seen in the past. Kind of looking like they aged out on the offensive line, or the defensive line. I'm sorry. And that secondary is not looking so good when the defensive line is not getting pressured. They're looking very beatable. Last week got beat everywhere by everyone. Wandell was – I'm sorry, not Giants were playing the Cowboys. But anyways, I think that, you gotta play your key guys here. Malik Neighbors. You got to play Scatterbo. Scatterbo is, to me, he's going to be a flex. And then I'll go with Russell Wilson. I hate to say that because I know the moment I appeal to Russell Wilson, he's going to shit the bed. That just seems to be how it happens. He always gets you when you're not expecting it. He's like, oh, look what I could still do. And then the next week you're like, you know what? It's a great idea to start Russell Wilson. And then he's just like, 5 points.
Yeah,
it happens every time. I remember one year I drafted Russell Wilson in his prime in Seattle. And it was I think after the year he was like panning for an MVP or something like that. No, it was the year he was going for the MVP. And everybody's like, oh, Russ should be in the MVP voting. And then he ends up shitting the bed and getting injured. And I was just like, man, this is just so typical Russell Wilson.
I think, Kansas City needs this win this week. So, and not to say the Giants don't, but, this is KC now. So they're not used to this losing. So I could see them going gangbusters on the Giants as far as the offense is concerned, which makes me think that possibly the Giants will be, Russ will be in that position. He's going to have to keep throwing the football. And he's going to have to figure out something other than just bombs to Malik Neighbors at some point. But, I still think that's true. Maybe not. But I do think he'll have a decent fantasy game, period. I do like Pat Mahomes. I mean, going back to start everyone on this side, other than I would say I'm still kind of wary on Pacheco, the way he's been playing, kind of putting him in the flex range. And the receivers, if Xavier Worthy comes back, please put him in your lineup because, Hollywood Brown's been very underwhelming. There really isn't anyone stepping up to to make big plays, and I think Xavier Worthy, this would be a great matchup for him if he can get in and start. And you got to like Travis Kelce this week. Hate to say it, but he's going to have some good matchups. So put in Travis Kelce next to what'd you call him? Travis Swift. That's what it was.
Yeah, Travis Swift.
Let's go to the Monday Night Delight. I mean, we talked about the Dallas Bears game, about the fantasy bonanza, but this is the one right here. That's why I was like, when Meg says sitting Derrick Henry, I'm like, what are we doing here? This is a good matchup for both teams. Baltimore against fantasy QBs are 29th, 28th against receivers, 19th against tight ends, or 31st against 19th against receivers, 31st against tight ends. Detroit, 19th against QBs, 12th against running backs, 24th against receivers, 8th against tight ends. What say you on the Ravens side? Who you like and don't like?
Yeah, so this game to me is either going to be a blowout or it's going to be a bonanza game. And I'm going to lean towards a bonanza game. And I'm going to say either way, you're going to start Derrick Henry, you're going to start Lamar Jackson. And you know what? You're going to start Zay Flowers. Everybody else, though, if it's a blowout game, if you really think, and I'm going to say this, if you think that it's going to be a blowout game, then start Des Walker and start freaking Rashad Bateman, because those guys always go for fucking crazy numbers whenever the Ravens blow. You ever notice that? Whenever the Ravens blow out a team, like when they blew out the Giants last year, Rashad Bateman went for like 4 catches, 120 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And you're just like, whoa, where's this Rashad Bateman been? You'd be like, oh, it's because they fucking demolished them. Like after a while, Lamar is just over there playing Madden. He's just like, oh, look at that. Oh yeah, it's a catch. I personally think this is going to be a competitive game. So I'm just going to stick with the basics. And if Isaiah Likely is back, I'm going to put Isaiah Likely as well, because they've been needing that tight end position. And I think Andrews is just aging out. I don't think he's running very well anymore. And I think they need that young, dynamic tight end, Isaiah Likely.
I agree. For me, since he's been injured, we haven't seen Likely on the field. So I just think maybe he'll need another week or two to kind of get in the mix. But I'm with you, man. They definitely need something from that position. Right now, it's just been all Zay Flowers, quite frankly. All right, on the Detroit side, again, going back to start them up. Love Gibbs this week. Love Goff this week. Love St. Brown. I'll even love a little JMO and the Tesla. I mean, this guy, man, he's like crazy with these catches that he's making. So I would think he's even a flex-worthy option this week. Again, I think this is going to be one of those back and forth games where it's just going to be points a la points. And Sam Laporta, go ahead and throw him easily in your lineup because he's going to be a good smash start for you this week as well. So, start him up. This is, like I said, going to be the Monday Night Delight. So we're all going to be enjoying this one, especially if you're needing points to come back. Boy, it's going to be sweet to see this scoreboard light up for you. All righty. Well, we have, of course, on Friday nights, our boy Andrew LeDuc does a little bit what we call Sophistication Station, where he gives you his sophisticated starts of the week. But this week, Andrew LeDuc is actually on a honeymoon over there. I forget exactly where, Cabo or one of those places, but he's going to tell you about it in a second. But I was just letting you know because at the tail end of Sophistication Station tonight, our boy, of course, sent us a video of him doing the Michael Jackson dance off. So just make sure you stick around for that. All right, so let's check out week 3, Sophistication Station.
It's time to bring some sophistication to your fantasy lineups with Mr. Mallard.
True Sophistication Station members, and welcome. I'm Andrew LeDuc, aka Mr. Mallard. As you can see from the sweat on my forehead, coming to you from beautiful Punta Cana here in the Dominican Republic. Let's get you started with some classy starters this week to get into your lineup. And we'll start with Sam Darnold, running the show for Seattle now, at home against the Saints this week. It's a prime matchup for him and JSN to take off together. I think that's going to be a quality start that a lot of people are going to overlook, so especially in your DFS lineups, get him in there at a nice cheap price. And then let's go with Jordan Mason. This is going to be the darling that everybody's on this week. But Jordan Mason with no Aaron Jones, no J.J. McCarthy, and going against a prime matchup against the run. Jordan Mason should absolutely pop this week. Once again, everybody's going to be on him. So from a DFS standpoint, he's going to be well owned, but he's going to hit value and be able to win your matchups in the regular week. And then let's go off to Javonte Williams. Javonte Williams looking beefy. He's looking nice. He's looking rejuvenated for this Dallas Cowboys. Has a great matchup against the bottom of the league run defense so far this season. Javonte Williams should pop off this week, continue to surprise and take care of his marriage that had faith in him to draft him. So Javonte Williams this week, and until going forward we see anything different, needs to be in your lineup. I bumped him up to a running back too out of the flex spot, so you can feel good about that. Those are your classy starts. Sam Darnold, Jordan Mason, Javonte Williams, and Mr. Mallard. Keep it classy, my friends.
Stay thirsty, my friends.
Now go win your fantasy matchup with class.
Mr. LeDuc, there was absolutely nothing classy about that. All right, we will see you on Sunday. Andrew LeDuc will be joining us as well, so we'll have some good fun with him also. So happy, we're excited for you guys, and happy for you guys. Hope you're enjoying your time out there. All right, ladies and gentlemen, from us to you, we appreciate you. Don't forget to wake up with us, by the way, on Sunday morning, 8 a.m., You got your boy Fantasy Jesus, Ultimate DFS lineups, got betting advice. We got all kind of good stuff. So make sure you check us out Sunday at 8 a.m. All right. Like I said, from us to you, we appreciate you and we are out.